What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTP Ravens Media, bringing Ravens content every single day. If you want to see that Ravens content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below and hit the notification bell as well if you want to get notified every single time I upload a brand new video. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about a Ravens fan favorite analyst, Stephen A. Smith. And I'm not even going to call him an analyst because he's not an analyst. Conceptually, that's just not what he is. He's an entertainer. And I have to give Stephen A. Smith his props as an entertainer. He's an enjoyable, he's amazing at what he does. He entertains people, okay? So I don't want people to think that I think that Stephen A. Smith is the number one go-to source for NFL information. No, he's not. But he's there for entertainment. A lot of people watch it, and a lot of people get their opinions from the entertainers that they watch, whether it's Skip Bayless or Stephen A. Smith or Nick Wright, Colin Cowherd. They're entertainers. They're not analysts. They're entertainers. If you want to watch, Kurt Warner, if you want to watch Peyton Manning, or if you want to watch, JP Palmer, those guys, those are analysts. You get I'd much rather people get their opinions from them rather than the entertainers. But he brought up something today. They were talking about the MVP, an award that I think most people would consider Lamar Jackson in the running for. And Stephen A. Smith didn't say that he's not in the running by any means, but Stephen A. Smith picked Tom Brady, and I'm going to analyze all that. But let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about, the whole situation, because I'm sure you've seen the clip. But he basically says, I've got Brady at the MVP, but Lamar Jackson, as great as he's been, he's struggled in too many moments. The Ravens are a two-loss team? The Ravens are a two-loss team, and Lamar Jackson has struggled in too many moments. And he said, even though they've pulled out the wins because of him. Now, they lost week one. Lamar Jackson fumbled. It was terrible offensive line play and all that stuff, but Lamar Jackson fumbled. Raiders pick it up. They were able to get that win. He struggled in the game against Cincinnati, but I don't think it wasn't like a Lamar, Lamar just couldn't get it done. It was no, the whole team looked bad. And I think then we need to analyze, what does this MVP award mean? What does it stand for? Most valuable player. If we look at the Baltimore Ravens and their roster, okay, not even looking at the offense, let's look at the defense. The defense has been atrocious, especially for Baltimore Ravens standards. It's been a probably below average defense in the NFL this season. Now they've had some good games, most notably the LA Chargers game. But overall, it's not been a good defense. And then you look at the offense. And while I'm a big fan of Hollywood Brown, I'm a big fan of Mark Andrews. That's it. Sammy Watkins has been in and out. They've had rotating running backs seemingly every week, whether it's Latavius Murray 1 week is running back one, or Tyson Williams running back one, or Devontae Freeman running back one. It's changing every single week. Rashad Bateman hasn't played. Nick Boyle hasn't played. The offensive line, they had Ronnie Stanley week one. He gets hurt. Villanueva switched over to the left side. They get Patrick McCarry. McCarry gets hurt. Now it's Tyree Phillips. Ben Powers gets hurt. It's Ben Cleveland. Ben Cleveland gets hurt. And then it's back to Ben Powers. Bradley Bozeman gets hurt in a game. It goes to Tristan Colon Castillo. Kevin Zeitler, I believe he had to step out in one of the games, and Tyree Phillips may have stepped in for him. I can't remember who exactly stepped in for him. Everything in that offense has been shifting. And yet Lamar Jackson is still out there with absurd numbers. I mean, he's on pace for 4,500 yards passing and 12 or 1,300 yards rushing, which is absolutely insane. But if you're talking about most valuable player, Lamar Jackson is the leading rusher and the leading passer on his team. And not it's close. This is not the rushing attack of the last couple of years for the Ravens where Lamar's the best rusher on the team, but Gus and JK or Gus and Mark Ingram are still really solid players and they're doing really well. No, it's Lamar, and those guys come in and sometimes do a meh job. There hasn't been a game by the Baltimore Ravens where I've come out of it and been wow, that running back played great. That's not happened yet. They haven't had any massive plays from any running backs. Now, week one, Tyson Williams had a good carry against the Raiders, had a nice touchdown, kind of broke that last tackle, strutted into the end zone. And that was a good play. That was one play. Overall, the running back play hasn't been good. the wide receivers are no names to most NFL fans. And then you look at the guys that he's going up against, because the guys in the MVP conversation right now, I will bring them up. Tom Brady, and I'm not saying Lamar is by far the MVP. I don't really know if he is the MVP, but to say that he can't be the MVP because he struggled in too many moments is just downplaying the fact that he's been so spectacular in so many other moments. When has Brady needed to play at the level that Lamar has played at this season? Like, I'm not saying that Brady's can't be the MVP. I think Brady's definitely in the top 3 conversation. I think it's a very close race right now. But it's between, Lamar, Kyler Murray gets brought up. I see a bit of Dak Prescott, but it's Brady. I see Stafford as well. I don't think Josh Allen's really in there. And people may bring up like, oh, but the standings. Yeah, the Ravens are 6-2. Like, so are the Buccaneers. And you look at the Buccaneers' schedule and their games. Cowboys. They beat the Cowboys. Good job. They beat the Falcons. That didn't need Brady to be crazy. They lose to the Rams. Tough game. Brady leads a game-winning drive against the Patriots. Good job. Like that was a good moment. But then they blow out the Dolphins. They barely beat the Eagles, but I believe that was they were winning by a good amount, and then the Eagles kind of crawled their way back in. They crushed the Bears. They lose to the Saints. It's not like Brady's coming out with these crazy comebacks like Lamar has. Lamar has 3 double-digit comebacks on the season, one of them being a 19-point comeback. And those were all games where he was terrific. Terrific. Like people watch, the best game a quarterback has played this year has been Lamar Jackson coming back against the Indianapolis Colts. He was unbelievable. And then you look at the game against the Chiefs, where he struggled at first, but he completely turned it around. And everybody after watching that game was like, oh my goodness. Nobody was expecting that. Nobody was expecting Lamar Jackson to be able to come from behind like that. Now, Ravens fans, we believed he could, but he just hadn't really done it very much because the Ravens haven't been down very often in Lamar Jackson's career, so he hasn't had the opportunity. But if you look at that, and then you look at the weapons that Tom Brady has arguably the best weapons in the NFL. It's him and the Cowboys with Dak Prescott, another MVP candidate. They got Mike Evans, top 10 receiver. Probably top 8 receiver, maybe top 7 receiver. They've got Chris Godwin, top 15 receiver. Antonio Brown, still a great receiver. And Rob Gronkowski, who's, he's missed a couple of games, but when he's played, he's been looking like old Gronk because he's finally got that year back under his belt. He's a borderline top 5 tight end. Now, I don't think he's in the George Kittle, Travis Kelce range, but I would honestly say that he's in the top, the second tier behind him. And Mark Andrews this year has been playing like a tier 1 tight end, but Gronk's been one of the best tight ends in the NFL this season. When he's played, he's been terrific. And then the offensive line has been fantastic for Tom Brady. Leonard Fournette has been balling. There's been a lot of games where you look at Leonard Fournette and it's like, oh, he absolutely destroyed that opposing team. The Ravens haven't had a single game where a player not named Lamar Jackson was the reason why they won. If that's not MVP, if you're saying he hasn't been he's choked in too many moments, they lost one game because of Lamar. And it wasn't because of Lamar. It was because Lamar had the final fumble, but it was because the offensive line was atrocious. But Lamar had the final fumble. So you can say it was because of Lamar. I don't really blame the Raiders' loss on Lamar. But other than that, losing to the Bengals wasn't Lamar. The whole team played poorly. But beating the Chiefs was all Lamar. Beating the Colts was all Lamar. Beating the Lions, all Lamar Jackson. That's why I don't understand this whole thing of he's struggling in too many moments. If Stephen A. Smith goes out there and says, you know what, I think it's Tom Brady. I think just the numbers that he's putting up and that team, the way that they are being led, are carrying themselves, I think that gives him the edge. I would have been okay with that. I wouldn't have made a video on it. But because he decided to go out of his way to say Lamar Jackson's he's just really choked. He's just struggled too many times. And not saying the times that he struggled, that's just blindly accusing Lamar of things that he's not backing up with any evidence. And that's something that that he does way too consistently. I mean, we've seen the polarity in what he says about Lamar Jackson versus a lot of other quarterbacks, the most recent being Aaron Rodgers in that whole situation, which is ridiculous. But let me know what you guys think. And I'm just curious what you guys' thoughts are on the MVP debate. Because, like, I don't know if it's Lamar Jackson right now. I just think that it's ridiculous that people say that, like, Lamar Jackson can't be the MVP because he struggled too much. No, he could be the MVP. If you think that Tom Brady's the MVP over Lamar, I don't fault anybody for that. Like, I really don't. I mean, that's just a discussion that people are going to have. And I'm actually going to be having that on a live stream today if you guys are interested in joining over on the Football Diary. But shameless plug at the end of the video. But thank you, everybody, for watching. Subscribe for Daily Ravens content. And I will see all of you again tomorrow, which, crazy enough, is the day before the Ravens play on Thursday night. So thank you, everybody. See all of you again then.